share that fundraiser with 5 other people, inshallah. Uh, but tonight we have a really profound and program I've been excited for quite some time. Um, Tonight we're going to have a really insightful conversation between two brothers who are very dear to me. And so just to kind of set the stage a little bit for so that we're kind of all level set, right? In September of last year, uh, we were all both stunned and inspired, I think, by the final days of Imam Khalifah Williams. Uh, the state of Missouri and the U.S. government, despite appeals, despite organizing and movements across the country to get his execution stayed and to get that eventually overturned, the state of Missouri executed our brother last September. Imam Khalifa was a prolific poet, a spiritual leader, and a dedicated father, and his impact has been felt around the world. You'll see some folks walking around with a sweater with his last statement on it, Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal, or all praise be to God Almighty, Allah, in every situation. And those words have resonated across, again, like I said, the country and the world, across faith traditions, and it continues to just remind us again of relying on the one with ability over all things, with power over all things, the one who was all wise, and despite the pain and the hardship that we face, who is all merciful. Tonight, we are really excited and honored to welcome two brothers to the stage. We have our facilitator, Brother Kanoya Ali, another longtime volunteer and work with BBO. He does 30,000 other things across this city every day, mentoring, working with young people. He's also a social media magnate of his own right with the Shy podcast and with Muslimatic University. And then we also, of course, have our brother Marcellus Williams Jr. He's born and raised in St. Louis. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. A prolific boxer in his youth and in his young adulthood, and probably could still put some work in today. And he also mentors young people in the local St. Louis area as well. And so, with no further ado, we'll go ahead and get this started. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, sure. Okay. Couple housekeeping things. Can folks who are sitting move? We'll just move up slightly to make more space in case we get.
There's chairs off the benches.
Okay. We had a few seats up here too for anyone who wants to sit if you're in the back. A couple other things too, thank you, that I missed. So brief run of show, right? We're gonna have part one of the conversation before sunset, and we'll kind of close out the conversation with a poetry reading. Right before 7 o'clock, we're gonna break to pray, inshallah. Okay. So we'll call the adhan and we'll go ahead and pray around 7. If you are not fasting or not praying, feel free right at that time to go ahead and start eating because we do have a tight program. So we'll eat around 7:15, and then we're going to try to get back into the space, transition back into this space for the second half of the talk by 8 o'clock. Okay. And feel free. Also, we have desserts and coffee and things and tea. You can bring that back into here for part 2 of the talk. All right. So again, no further ado. I'll pass it to Ali.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Peace and blessings to all of you, those that are Muslim and not. Thank you guys for coming. This event is very special. Uh, it's a feel-good moment. We're in the month of Ramadan, but this is a very serious moment because we have bear witness to an individual that, by all accounts, there were evidence that proved that he was innocent, and he was still assassinated in front of us. Many of us reached out, and that axe went on to deaf ears. We have his son here today, and um, I just want to start by saying, man, we love you. We here for you. Right? I want to reiterate that publicly, that we love you and we here for you. And Your father is a testament to what a Muslim should be. And I pray that one day myself and I resonate something like that. But with that being said, man, we want to start out with really going into your father's case. I think a lot of people don't, and we've had this conversation, but I think a lot of people really don't understand the dynamics behind your father's actual case.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, first off, I appreciate everyone for being here, and we can get right into it. So, my father, Imam Khalifah Williams, he was wrongfully convicted of a murder of a young woman who worked for the St. Louis Post Dispatch. So, this was a big profile case. You know, tall, intelligent, black Muslim man, very wealthy, small Caucasian woman. It was like a bad case all around. My father had exculpatory DNA evidence proving his innocence. There was another person's fingerprints on the murder weapon. There was a bloody footprint, perfect shoe match. My dad wore 14. The shoe size was an 8.5. This woman, she was not a coward. She fought for her life. You know how special our women are. Like, they're not gonna just lay down. She had hair follicles and flesh under her nail, some other man. The witnesses recanted, came forward and said that the police offered them money and a time cut to say my father did this crime. And the witnesses' original accounts of the murder, they didn't line up. So it's like if I stole a pizza from the store and he said I jumped into a truck and he said I rode off on a bike, it didn't make sense. My father was incarcerated for over 20 years, still in his innocence the whole time. Every 4 or 5 years, these people came to him with a deal. Hey, you say you did this, and we'll spare your life. We'll do this, we'll do that. He said, no. He said, no, I didn't do this murder. This is not me. I'm not good for this. He may not have been a perfect man, but he did not murder this woman. So that was basically the gist of it. And he fought all the way to the end, all the way to the end. And we got like a supreme support all over the world. Uh, Muslims everywhere. That's outright. From Germany, Uzbekistan, Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, everywhere. We had number one, well, everybody need to know. If you don't know the history, you know, Muslims have always been the oppressed people since the beginning. So there's nothing new, and we're not putting this out the sky when we have, when I say we have certain trials and tribulations and hurdles that we have to go an extra mile to get over just because we're Muslim. We walk down the street and our sisters wear the hijab, people look at them a certain way. We were told people look at us a certain way. We're just traditional Islamic clothing, and we're showing respect for our religion, but we just get frowned upon. And that's on a small scale. So you think about you fighting for your life in prison and you Muslim. My father also helped other people, other inmates in prison who had bad cases get their freedom. So he was a target, you know. And no, I really do miss him. But one thing my dad said that I tell everybody, like, he didn't have any complaints with a lot of decisions because Allah the best of all planners. And he knew that if he was to be murdered, that was going to spark a change and we could be the vessel. So it won't happen to your brother, you, your father, and the cycle won't repeat. Because we working right now to change this. So he got a raw deal. His case was very publicized from Fox to CNN to Al Jazeera. Everybody talked about Kim Kardashian, Lala Anthony, Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. Everybody highlighted this because everybody knew it was wrong. But just overall, his last message, even about the case, was not to be sad. He has a recording. You guys should check it out on YouTube where he said, "Tell all the brothers and all the sisters, don't be sad, don't cry for me. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm at peace because he stood fast on his faith and he was a beautiful Muslim." So that's that.
Alhamdulillah. So, when we say a lot of people ask for his innocence, right?
Mhm.
You talking about celebrities, that's cool, but what struck me was people that was in the system that was asking for his freedom.
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, that was I couldn't even just pinpoint one or two or three people. There were so many people that worked in the judicial system, district attorneys, prosecutors, even the victim's family. A blind man could see that he was innocent. Exculpatory DNA evidence is what it is. It's not inconclusive. This is a real thing. Like, there's no samples of anything, no handprints, no nothing of his, but other people's. So the district attorney's office, they admitted negligence, came out and just admitted negligence. Like, hey, we messed up on this case. We should free him with no prejudice, meaning he cannot be tried again, and it's not important. It's a full exoneration. The lead prosecuting attorney signed an executive order for his freedom without prejudice. I can just keep going. It was police officers coming up to my rec center where I train kids at in boxing, telling me how bad the case was and they were sorry and they really feel for me, like heartfelt apologies, like it was their fault. And these people that work in the system. So that'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, having that conversation with you, man, when we first met, and really you kind of like, we've heard many times people ask for that freedom based on some evidence or the lack of evidence. But when you say there's a lot of evidence, but none of it is connected to my father. So how did they actually arrest your father? Like what took place?
Okay, so this woman who was, and this is a big thing about technology now. So now in 2025, we have Marketplace, we have OfferUp, we have Instagram. So back in the day, they didn't have all of that. So this woman ended up with this laptop that belonged to the victim. She came to my father and asked him for help to sell it. So my dad knew a lot of people, all different places, different cities. He could sell it, cars, um, electronics, anything. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do it." Later down the line, they find this laptop in this car. Like, you thinking, "Oh, it's not my laptop. Somebody gave me this to sell." Now in 2025, I can just go right on Facebook and say, "Hey, y'all, I got a flat screen TV for sale. This is how much I want." I get 50 comments. I want it. I want to save it. Hold it. It's not the same in 1998. So you just got this merchandise sitting on it, and this merchandise belonged to this woman who was murdered, and it's the only thing that tied him to this case. And there were three other women in the same time who got murdered this exact same way, right in like months of each other. And they just wanted to stick it to somebody. So they didn't do the right investigation or the research. They just picked him.
Mm. So this labs, your father was pulled over in the car.
Hmm.
A laptop was found.
Hmm.
He was arrested. Then they went through the system of saying, all right,
And you know what that is?
what's that?
That's receiving stolen property, not murder.
Correct.
But this the games they play. So you got to be careful moving forward, like with y'all lives. Like, everything got to be on the up and up. Cross all your T's, dot all your I's, because we're not gonna get a second chance. You know, and it's been proven.
Alhamdulillah, you spoke on a specific part, and we want to dive right into that because it's important for people to know that this was just wrong. It wasn't like a mistake or they didn't know it was wrong. They knew this was a wrong situation. This was they admitted they guilt in as far as they did the wrong thing, but still went as far as to not giving the person time, but like killing someone. Like when you think of I'm gonna kill someone who I know did not do this crime. So there's someone that's totally innocent. And the only way I can get away with this is based on his religion and the color of his skin.
Exactly. So in St. Louis, it's a city inside the state of Missouri. Missouri is the last state to abolish slavery. So let's take this into account. It's a 6'6", intelligent Muslim black man who's helped other black inmates get their freedom. And if he gets out and walks on this case, he's probably gonna receive up to 15, $16 million for every day that he did unjustly incarcerated. And he's not a buffoon. He's a very intelligent man. That's the money he's going to put back into the community, put back into Islam. They don't want that. So the whole plan behind the politics was to murder him because it was a murder. My father, he died from lethal injection legally, but that was an assassination. It was a murder, plain as day.
So alhamdulillah, I hope some of this resonate. I would like to possibly childhood of your father, man.
Um,
First of all, how old were you when your father was incarcerated?
7.
7 years old. So how was he as a father before you were locked up? How was his time with you before he was incarcerated?
It was good. My dad used to like push me a lot of things. Like he knew I was going to be like a bigger guy. I was going to be kind of aggressive. He can tell when I was younger. So he kind of like anything I did, he kind of like challenged me on it from like chess at a young age, football, basketball, boxing, racing, riding my bike, putting a spare tire on the car, helping him doing things like that. Like he just always tried me like, oh, do it by yourself or you can do it or give me this or hand me the four-way and turn it this way, pick the tire up and throw the football harder.
So he was an active father. This was active.
Super active. My dad, even when he was in prison, he was active. My dad never missed anything. He called me all the time. He made a way for me to go see him all the time. And that's another thing about the prison system. They want to deter family from reaching out to loved ones that's incarcerated. They make it very uncomfortable for you. If you're a woman, they'll make you kind of like strip almost naked, try to embarrass you or grope you on a visit. If you're a man, kind of cavity check or talk to you real disrespectfully, so you will be deterred from seeing your loved one that's in prison. But none of that worked. Still was going to see my dad.
So let's go back to his childhood. I
Mhm.
apologize for getting off of that, but back to his childhood, growing up in St. Louis. What did he tell you about his childhood?
My dad told me a lot of things. He faced a lot of trauma, but he had a lot of good times too. So it wasn't all good, but it wasn't all bad. Um, my dad was one of 4 boys. My grandmother had all sons. Um, he grew up, you know, among his siblings, little rivalries. They was all athletes. Um, but he had certain, people around him and in his life that was older, that was kind of like, evil, and they kind of like took advantage of him as a young man, as a child. And those things stayed with him. So he fought those certain demons as he got older. But he was always not just from his words, but like from my mother and other people who knew him growing up, and as he was a younger man, very outgoing, very outspoken, like bold, of that nature. But he was kind of like fun. But if he loved you, he loved you, and he was gonna ride for you and protect you. So that's kind of why he was like bold like that. So if somebody did something wrong to you, and you might not say anything, you won't have to worry about it when he was around, because he was going to speak up on your behalf. That's the kind of guy he was. So you know, I would say if I could pick one thing that he really honed in on when he used to talk to me about his childhood was, trauma. My dad always told me like wild stuff that happened to him and basically tried to get to me so I can avoid it. I watch certain people and look for certain things and certain traits in people, how they talk and how they move around you. Yeah.
When we talking about him finding Islam, or was he born and raised Muslim? That's
So he found it later.
found it later. Did he ever tell you how Islam came to his life?
He never told me specifically how, but he was already studying Islam when he was on the street, when he was around. So I don't know for sure what made him just take his shahada, but he was already studying. It's like he was very informative. You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to be privy on everything. So
Did he? So, and even in write poetry, did he ever elaborate to you like what brought him to write poetry?
that was his trauma and his pain. My dad telling you like she's a beautiful man. Instead of him being like irrational, he was very pious, even though he could be tyrannical if he wanted to be. Like very powerful man, very, very strong, very fierce. But his words was his sword, He was very, I don't know how to explain it. You just had to read some of his poetry. You could just tell what kind of man he was. So that was his outlet, to break away from a lot of his realities was through his poetry.
And he was writing poetry before he was incarcerated, even as a child.
Mhm.
You said you spoke about
As a teenager.
as a teenager. You spoke about some. I don't know if you want to speak about this, but because we had somewhat of a talk, but his in his childhood, some evil people being around him.
Mhm.
Um, do you want to elaborate on that or no?
Yeah, we, I'm an open book. My father is in paradise now. He wasn't hiding this. He spoke freely about everything. So my father was abused, um, in many different ways, So that's what that was. And he had to be extremely strong and kind of like to get away from it, So not just physically, but sexually, these things that he didn't understand. So we, it's him growing up in that kind of you know trauma. It led to certain things that he did in life, and he rectified those things later on and found the corrective response for it. And his poetry was one of those things. His basically his what could I say? His overall freedom was through his poetry.
You told me so much about your father, man. Um, I almost feel like I know him in a way. Can you elaborate on his impact towards others? Um, that that his impact on others, including yourself, but like the people that did was in prison with him, that did time with him, that learned from him, that ate with him, broke bread with him.
And his energy just was like he was the kind of person you wanted to be around. He had younger guys, older guys, young women, everybody wanted to learn from him, talk to him all the time. People would see me in the street like, hey, yeah, dad, my number. Tell him call me, da da da, and try to wait. Like, hey, I waited all day. Your dad ain't called me. Like, man, he gonna call you, relax, man. But that's how he was. He just was like, he was real trustworthy, real caring. Like he had your back, he made you feel comfortable. He put people at ease because they was protected when they was around him in every kind of way. From mentally to emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Like you could do no harm to someone that was in his circle. You know, from Muslims he met yesterday to people he knew for 20 years. Like he had that kind of personality, that kind of spirit. He's and this is not me just tooting my dad horn. Like y'all can ask about him. Like people know him everywhere, from phone calls for years and videos and interviews he done. We got 2 documentaries out. The interviewers will tell you. Like one time, this lady was interviewing my father. She had gave him his number. She left. He called her. She was like, yeah, is something wrong? You know, she wanted to make sure everything was okay. He said, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. You got home safely. That's worrying about me getting home safe. Like that's how he was. Like it wasn't an act. It was not a facade. He really couldn't even go back to his cell peacefully and sleep without making sure this woman was safe at home. She just was an interviewer, you know? So that was his temperament. That's how he was.
What's as far as you, and what's some lessons that, and I know it's been a lot of lessons that he taught you, but what's something that stick out to you as you raise your son? Like you can hear
Right now, like you got to be pious. You got to be pious. Like you can't be. You can't be tyrannical. You got this. You got time that you act like that. Da, da, da. So I used to be easily irritated. Like something like I shut it down. Like it's over. Like I don't care. And he like disappointed. Move about your life. That's what you study every day. I like yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. Like, that's what you know. So I hear him. Sometimes like today young college kids that was drunk, so they shut down from O'Hare Airport, and the buses. I couldn't leave. I couldn't get a Lyft or Uber, and I'm just sitting like straight down. Cause I'm knowing, like I'm just getting mad. I just think about my dad, like, oh, it's gonna be all right. And my cousin, she drove her, and I flew. My flight was at like supposed to be like at 9:30. She didn't leave till like noon. We got here basically at the same time. I'm only a 40-minute flight from St. Louis. So, you know, when stuff like that happen, I'm really frustrated. You know, I can just hear my dad like, hey man, let it go. Calm down. You know, so I'm gonna miss him for times like that.
you know, I off this is my favorite piece of clothing. You know, because
Nice sweater, man.
that's this is my favorite piece of clothing. And because your father, you know, when you talking about an author who writes and love to write, and that last statement is
Could have said anything.
could say anything. Your last statement is one sentence.
Yeah. It was big.
You know that? I mean,
I gotta understand. It's a man not just on death row anymore. It's verified that we're about to kill you. Think about this. You in the front. This your last day on earth. When I put this mic down, we execute you. You can say anything. You can say, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. Y'all wrong. Um, Brother Marcellus, I can't believe you. You know? And you like, nah, alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? Because Allah is the best of all planners. So alhamdulillah. Let it be so. And it is. And it's a supplication that he always say, Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, and I told the brothers this, oh Allah, life is good for me to give me life. But if death is good for me to give me death. He really lived and died by that with no problem. And that's how we got to be. I told some young brothers before that you got to be like, you got to be just and righteous with all your intent. That's when you make an intent, when you're doing wudu, when you feeling pray, when you do two rekat, one rekat, whatever you're doing, still have a righteous intent. Like I'm doing this for a reason. And that's what that was. He could have complained, he could have cried. None of that. Even in this last meal, my father was like, "Oh, you ate. Like, so my son can get some." That's how he was, you know. That's what we. That's what I strive to be. Because I'm not there yet, you know. But that's where I want to be.
So in his last meal, he was asking the guards if you can have this food.
Yeah, the guards was like, "No," but he was like, "All right." He go
Concerned about you.
to the end. Even when my father, let me get out a picture. It's really room, kind of like behind his gate. Cut this off. Just this, like this. That. It's a glass. Imam Kasim is right there. That's his spiritual advisor. And my dad is laying on the table. Got a white photo on. Laying back. He looked up at me. He said, "You okay?" I said, "I'm okay." He said, "Okay." He said, "Let's go." They shut the curtains. They put the needles into his arm. They opened the curtains. And now they just press a button to administer the poison to kill him. They put the,
Um,
I'm all right. It just messed me up a little bit. When they put the needle in his arm, he raised up again. Like, you sure you're okay? If he would have, if I would have said no, something, he would have made him put me out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's going to be strong for me when I'm trying to be strong for him in his last seconds. So I said, no, I'm okay. I didn't cry, I didn't move, I didn't waver. I stood in the front. So I said, I'm okay. He said, okay. He laid back down, put his right hand over his left. He laid back. They administered the poison, and he died. And he was at peace. Because he was sure that I was okay. So he was okay. It was over. He wasn't worried about nothing else.
you know, you also told me that uh, whenever the death penalty is, whenever you about to go through this process, you can ask for some time.
Yeah, you get some time. He didn't want no time. So people don't know this. If you're on death row and you finna get executed any kind of way they're doing it, you know, they do it 3 different ways. They still have an actual firing squad where they can shoot you from behind a panel. And they have the electric chair still, and they have lethal injection. Lethal injection is where people go for it because it's supposed to be painless, but it's not true. It still has pain. So you can get a little time. Like I'm not ready right now. They give you like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on what state you're in, something like, you know, or how friendly you were with the correctional officers. They give you a little time. Like, okay, you're not ready right now. We can come get you and kill you in about 15 minutes. My dad was like, hey, let's go. I'm saying, this bigger than me. I'm a soldier of Allah. I'm not worried about nothing in this realm. I'm going to paradise. So he was ready.
You know, like I'm replaying all the videos I seen of him. And the last video that we posted, he said, "Man, I'm basically done."
So
Like, man, whatever going like,
what did he say first? He said, first of all, praise be to Allah.
praise be to Allah.
He said, my name is Marcellus Williams. You see me here,
Sing
on death row. And I'm
six
basically
fingers, just let me know I got a son.
And he said, I'm trying to effectuate some good for my son. And that's why I'm doing this. You know, so it's like, oh, okay. Basically saying like, hey, if it weren't for him, y'all wouldn't be getting this interview.
Right.
Because I'm not worried about the interviews.
Man.
Big man.
Have you ever been in communication with the victim's family at all?
Yes. We had lunch. Like, yeah, like we seen each other in passing going to court. They wasn't with this. They they was very outspoken about not only not executing my father, but releasing him because they felt that the state got the wrong guy.
You know, this is like
This don't happen. Like
this is a travesty. You talking about a family saying you have the wrong guy.
yeah.
The evidence saying you have the wrong guy. The guy saying you got the wrong guy. Who is
The
saying
system saying it. Part of the district attorney, prosecutor attorney, they saying, hey, yeah, we made a mistake. I got the wrong guy.
so? Who is saying that this has to happen.
It was the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey, and the Governor, Mike Parsons. So basically, Andrew Bailey was like, listen, because he knew the truth. He was like, man, it's not my job to, say that your dad innocent. That right there told me, that he was
He
innocent.
said this to you.
Yeah, he had to,
You had to meet with him.
we had like a group, me attended. I know a lot of people that reached out. So he was like, my job is to give him due process. And that's what we did, due process. So we going forward with the execution. Even though there was a board of inquiry that never went through. So a board of inquiry, everybody, it's a board of five very, like today what we say, clout. These five retired judges that got a lot of clout. So these five retired judges are supposed to review the case, do a thorough investigation, and come back with a verdict. That's the board of inquiry. The governor of Missouri, Mike Parsons, assembled the board of inquiry. Like he didn't even let it go through. So these guys never even got to be like, oh yeah, he innocent. We got to get him out of here. But the lead prosecutor attorney already had called for his exoneration and signed an executive order on it. So, like, you know,
One of the other things that kind of stuck out to me, and that was like, and as long as your father was okay, and he said, man, he want the community to be okay,
mhm.
but definitely some kind of reaction to. But the thought that not much longer might clear all death row inmates of
Give everybody important.
getting everybody apart. Months later.
That was the part of the politics. It was election time. It's this white woman trying to close his case. It's a black guy, Muslim.
So just for everybody to really get it, like months later, everybody in the United States, whether they were guilty or not,
Basically got pardoned.
were pardoned as far as being on death row, meaning that they can live out their sentences.
There was a few people who was like dead to right guilty for the same crime, murders, and got released. It was people who had murders and shot up schools and stuff and killed children. Like, they got like 20 years. This man did 25 years and he got executed for something that he did not do. Like, we got to really think about this. Like, when y'all go home, like, finish out Ramadan strong these next 2 weeks. And, but tonight, when you go home, really think about this. Yeah, what I'm saying. People come to me all the time saying, "This sounds like some stuff on a movie. It could be a TV show. It sounds like a book." Man, this is real life, and it happens all the time. You know, and everybody, like, I gotta hear me when I say this and really understand. You got a big strike against you in the society we're living in because you're a Muslim. Like, really stand on business with that. You know, so be prideful. Because we are beautiful people. We're a beautiful religion of peace. But people look at us a certain way, and if it's between us and somebody else, they always will pick somebody else. That's in all things. A job, uh, criminality, something that you didn't do. Like, so you gotta walk light and be careful with that, but be prideful at the same time. But just know what we're dealing with, when you take a shahada.
Are you did your father believe that his religion, how much did he believe that his religion played a part in him not walking out of that
A
door?
lot, man. Sometimes he made jokes about it. Like, he'd be like he would say things in reference to being Muslim and being incarcerated. He'd be like, yeah, if I just do this, I open up that Bible, I'll be home. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, and that's something I'm never gonna do. So I'm gonna be here. So that he always was like my cousin in the back, like like his favorite niece. This dude joke about everything. Like his last court date went and We was driving home. It was me and her in the car. And he called and he was talking to her like, yeah, when you get around Lil Marcellus and you tell him da da da, she like, he right here in the car. He's like, oh yeah, really? Yeah, y'all moving fast, huh? Y'all already back in the car. Da, 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 da. Like y'all go to get something to eat. Not even talking about the case no more. That's what I try to get to people's head. He was not worried about this life. You know, he was not tripping about what they were gonna do because he already knew. And he knew one of the main reasons because it was so big about him being Muslim that it was gonna go down like that. He wasn't tripping off of it though.
I really think that a lot of people don't get full grasp of having a strike against you because you're African American male in America, and then putting on the religion, the cloak of a religion that is the most hated religion in this country, probably.
Yeah, man, you black and you practicing Islam, like hey, get out of here, man. What you doing? Like back of the line, under the jail. Let's kill him.
Who's gonna complain?
Nobody. That's the whole
Whoever complains, which one of those people matter? Like which.
And like y'all complaining too much, man. You next. Like even now, I get so many death threats. It's like funny to me because it's like it don't move me. Like man, come on, man. I'm untouchable. Under him, I'm not worried about that. So from Instagram to my email to people like, yeah, we're gonna do like your dad. You next, and uh, go. They like some dude. I don't know this. Some dude told me to go to Kuwait. See, you must have need to go back to Kuwait. Like, that's great. Anyway, scrolling. Hey, like what you like? All right, bro. It's still up on my Instagram right now. I don't delete none of the comments. I don't block nobody. It's just funny, like how ignorant these people are. But this is what we're dealing with, so you gotta be careful. But you know, it is what it is at this point.
Just because as I'm talking to you, and I just kind of bounce back from some of our conversations, and I just remember you saying, whatever happened to those witnesses that the police had, the two witnesses?
Hey, this is a cold demonstration. So I'm telling you. Okay, so when one of the witnesses recanted, signed an affidavit saying that he was coerced to make this lie up. He died. So another witness, she was doing an interview with CNN, had it scheduled. They got tape recorders of her on YouTube saying she about to tell the truth. She's about to recant. She ended up dead. It's a facts. I ain't putting this out the sky. You can this is Googleable uh statements that I'm saying.
Yes.
You can go Google and like, oh, what happened to Henry Cole, Laura Sorrow? That's their name.
Rico and
Laura Sorrow. And Laura Sorrow, I went to school with her children. Emmanuel Sorrow, Ashley Sorrow. Like we all was like classmates. I seen her all the time.
she had substance abuse problems.
She the one who brought my dad the laptop. And then the story she said didn't match up none at all with the story that Henry said. And then he came out like, hey, you know what? It's the truth. These people gave me a couple of dollars and a time cut on my case and told me to lie and say that Marcellus did this murder. And then he signed the affidavit.
And he was saying that he was a cellmate of my the father.
He said he was in the power with me.
He
And
was,
yeah, I think who my dad is. Like, y'all go look at the interviews. Y'all see how he talk, how he act. Being like this, he got more savvy and more like mature. But his mindset being this way. If this kind of person, if he did anything, he's not going to be in a cell talking to people, telling me, I did this or I did. It didn't even make sense. And later on, this man Henry came on and said, "Yeah, I lied. I lied. The police paid me money, and they gave me a time cut on my case." But even that's neither here or there because it don't even matter. It don't matter. The forensic specialist, that's another thing. We had the #1 forensic specialist in the country, Barry Sheck. He was the same one who worked on O.J. Simpson case. This man came down, did 3,000 hours of work on everything from the murder weapon to the clothes, everything. He's like, yeah, it's not inconclusive. This is another man's DNA. Marcellus has no DNA on any of these things at all. Like, this is an innocent man y'all got here. This is a short little white man that's speaking on my father's behalf. Like, yeah, y'all got to go. He's innocent. So the other people, the witnesses and the recants, it don't even matter because there was a lot of plans, like it was supposed to be this way. So we can be here and pushing this agenda we got now.
Alhamdulillah. When we speak on the fact that how much was weighing on the side of your father's innocence, you understand that the reason you have to see how much is on that side. It was a mind I was turned to for whatever the reason. And then we have to think about what was the reason I was turned? Why would you let innocent go? And then we speak on the part of him being really an African American Muslim that was teaching Islam, that was, so many people took Shahada, so many people changed their lives. And here it is, we're going to let you out. We're going to let you out of prison and take this to the street.
Couldn't have that. He was talking about opening up free daycares, recreational centers, all these things, giving out, hygiene products. Like, my dad was for the people, like, and let's get this straight. He just wasn't having people take their Shahada in prison. It was free people in the free world that was taking their Shahada over the phone with my dad from prison. And they like going back to Walmart and going to work. Like, and like, yeah, Imam Khalifah gave me my Shahada, like, like at least like 250 people. This dude was really working. He wasn't like just talking about it. He wasn't just popping it at the mouth. He was doing the work with everyone, with the brothers, with the sisters, with the babies, with his elders, in any way he could. He would ask me questions like, "Oh, I heard about this, and what you know about Bitcoin? What you know about this new technology they got? They got this." He had created. You have a camera for a car because there was a lot of police involved shootings. So this camera goes on the blade and the top of your doors of drawer. It records everything. You got a patent for it. This man really was thinking about so many different things. So that's what it was. It's a lot of politics behind that. And the main thing is he was black and he was Muslim.
Alhamdulillah. What was some of the orders and directives that your father gave you? Like, what was his last, man, look, son, I need you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do that.
We got to do another. We have to have another event like this because me and my cousin, I stumbled across tape recordings I had of me and my dad last couple conversations, but on the tape player it was kind of distorted. But we found the company that's going to refine it and digitalize it and to make it clear because he gave me some real instructions. And one of the things kind of lighthearted was don't buy that TRX truck and get the Ford Raptor.
Yeah.
This man. When I keep telling y'all, this is the kind of man that he was. He was not afraid of death. He was not worried. He was not worried at all. He really was focused on paradise, the hereafter. Like, I know I'm about to do this and get abundance of great deeds, and you're gonna get blessed, and you're gonna get a blessing for this. Let's do this. Like, it was like he was drinking from Zamzam. Like, he was like hyped. He wasn't worried about this. And he was like, yeah, man, you're going to get them trucks, man. You get you a nice truck. Do not get the Hellcat truck, that TRX. I don't even like the name Hellcat. Just don't do that. Don't. You need to get the Ford Raptor. That's a better truck. So that was like a real direct thing he told me. But on like some of the main things and something that's more serious was, he just wanted me to be um, a better father. This in his words. And I was telling him like, I don't think that you was like less of a father, nothing like that. He was like, stop, like it don't matter. I'm just telling you, just raise your son up. You know,
SubhanAllah.
uh, yeah, he just uh,
Take your time, bro. Uh, when we even reflecting on, uh, even reflecting on who you were in your younger years as a, you used to box uh, in the company of Floyd Mayweather, uh, and that career was kind of put to a hold. I give you a little time. Uh, and yet, you know, just to know that you had a uh, promising career
shit wrong.
as a professional boxer,
Yeah,
and you kind of sacrificed your career to
yeah,
try to help your father regain his freedom.
yeah. So um, I was already, I was always very good at everything I did. I'm not like just talking. Like if I wanted to be a gang leader, I would have been a top gang leader. If I wanted to be a fireman or a police officer, I would have worked at the top. I would have been an FBI agent. Like I was good at everything I did, and boxing just stuck. And I went through the ranks from amateur tournaments, winning a lot of tournaments, fighting different, shows and national tournaments, and even going overseas a couple times and fighting guys. You know, from Kazakhstan, USA versus Great Britain, different things where I was winning these tournaments back to back. And I kind of got the attention of the big wigs in sports and entertainment, uh, and the biggest was Floyd Mayweather, undefeated, professional boxer. He just liked me. So before me, Floyd never really dealt with heavyweight boxing. He before me or after me. I'm the only heavyweight he ever really, you know, brought into the fold. And I was really, really good. Uh, Footwork, hand speed, power in both hands, you know. But every time I would have like a big like boxing event, my dad would be going up for a clemency hearing, or because he got 2 stays of execution. They tried to execute him twice before this last time. That don't happen either. Like when they want you to execute you, it's over. They don't keep giving people stays. Like this don't happen. It's like he was innocent. So I just made a choice. Like I'm gonna stop boxing and I'm gonna work in the prison industrial complex to try to free my father from this enslavement. It was way more important than boxing. Yeah, boxing, making me a world champion. I could have potentially been a millionaire, fancy cars, hanging with celebrities, which I did. I've been private jets and flew all around the world and I hung with so many people. I've been around everybody, Monica, Shannon Brown, Mariah Carey, Denzel Washington, so many people, but my father, freedom was way more important to me, and I was studying more and taking Islam more serious and, getting closer with my dad. And so I just quit. I just quit boxing. But I was good. My dad was more important.
Allahu Akbar. I heard some words. Allahu Akbar. Um,
And I'm not crying because I'm sad, So I want the brothers to understand this too. It's permissible to cry. It's haram to weep it, fall on the floor, roll over. That's what's haram. But it's permissible to cry. Crying show a tender heart. And I really, really, love my father. So I just miss him knowing. I'm crying for a certain reason. So I'm kind of angry. I'm not sad. So I just want y'all to know that I'm not sad.
So what's the anchor though? Can you speak to that?
It's just, and I did so much stuff, and I felt like I kind of like
Okay. You know, what I would like to bring up is this, man. You got a son, and I see you constantly spending time with your son, and talking about your son.
it's my dude, man.
Alhamdulillah,
It's the Ibn.
alhamdulillah, and he's autistic.
Yeah, the autism, yes.
Can you speak to you raising him and how
Yeah, so
how that's been?
basically, I want everybody to know the autism spectrum is very wide. So you have some people with autism that's way up here, and they having seizures. They really can respond to things, and then you have different levels where it's kind of slight, where you might have a friend that's autistic and you don't even know it. They don't know it. So it's like it's a wide spectrum. But my son is nonverbal, so he was a revert. So my son. He used to talk, say certain words, mama, daddy, yes, and then one day he just stopped. And I used to always say, I love you. He said, love you, love you. He tried to say it back. And I realized, that, man, you don't say it no more, man. You're not trying to, you don't want to talk to me. I'm messing with him. He just laughing, laughing, laughing. Kept doing it days, weeks, months. And I'm like, "Man, something going on with my son. Like, I'm like, I'm looking at him. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, did he hit his head? I just started thinking about all these different things, like what's going on with my son? And his mom and my mom, they already knew. I was the last one, and we got professionally diagnosed and got autism, nonverbal, and but he doing good. Just he had a parent-teacher conference the other day, and his motor skills getting better. Things he doing just but if y'all met my son, y'all wouldn't know that he had autism too. Like you was talking to him, and he looking at you, but he's just running around and do things. He getting better at everything he does. He's trying to write more, draw, take his coat off, put it on, things like that. So
Hmm. How old is
he 3. He'll be 4 in a couple months.
SubhanAllah?
Yeah, inshallah.
Have you had some difficulties in raising them and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
it's a challenge every day. It's every day. My son has an oral fixation, so he can be eating something good, turkey sausage, you know, oatmeal, cinnamon, orange juice, so real good. He like it, and then he'll just pick like a wood chip or something and like bite it up and like gnaw it. It just he can't help himself. You got to correct it. Things like that. Just he get a little bit overwhelmed, or if he a little bit overstimulated. Certain things he do like. Um, you just got to be real delicate with him because he toe walks a lot. So you have to when you bathe him, all his feet really really good. So he don't cut his skin because he kind of walk like that sometimes. But when you started to where he is now, it's doing really really good. So I'm like, man. So it's a lot of people, athletes and influencers, got autism at a young age, really really bad, and do dieting and you know. Certain therapy have like controlled it. So we caught it at a young age with him. So inshallah, it'll get better over the years. But if my dad, not my dad, if my son never spoke anything, I wouldn't like still my son. I wouldn't care. Like I wish he could just stay how he is for the rest of his life. 3, 4, that it's like my baby, so I'm not really tripping about him doing nothing else.
Did your father ever get a chance to? Well, he got a chance to meet him.
He saw him in court twice, but he never got the chance to hold him.
Mm.
Because my son was born like during like the COVID time, so it was really really hard. And some other barriers to get him into the prison, and then he was getting moved in. There was a lot of stuff going on, but in court, he saw him a couple times. Like my son was like fidgeting and making noise, and my dad looked over like, "Oh, it's him." I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then like on the phone, the video calls, he saw him like that all the time. And my dad and my son, they look just alike. It's like me and my dad favored, but my son and my dad like look just alike.
So I just want to go kind of back to your father's poetry, man.
Mm.
First of all, did you pick up any of his skills as a writer?
A little bit, but I don't really go into it. And
Give
I
us
just
a
try.
couple bars up here.
Huh?
Huh?
What you say?
Give us a couple bars.
No, man. My raps.
I can see you with an old school rap. The hip, the hop, the hip. Hey, that's not you.
No, man, my raps is different, man. It's different, but I actually try to I like rap, like hear like I'm laughing. I can see him now. Like I rap something, and one time I was rapping. I'm like I'm rapping like yeah. I'm cold, right? It's people. I'm telling you, man, it was people in the day, not the day room, in the visiting room. Like like other inmates, everybody like, hey, Khalifah tight. He was like, yeah, man, you ain't say nothing about Allah. He's like, yeah, man, you cursing, man. You talking about you doing this. You ain't say nothing but Allah. And look. Man, you know why you breathing? It's because of Allah. It could be this and that. And he started breaking it down like, it's spores, it's certain bacteria that can withstand any cold, any heat. Who made that? Allah. And you gonna put rap? And then I was like, I never rap again. I stopped rapping. I had a group and everything. One of my friends that rapped, he made it. He became a platinum selling artist. His name is Jibbs. He got a song like "Your Change Ain't Low." It was big. I remember. That's my friend. Like we used to be together.
Are you was a part of it? Y'all was a
We
group?
was homies like every day, like together, like school, boxing gym, going over their house. Like his brother made beats. His sister, we still all cool to this day.
That's what's up, man. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but that was so I did a little bit of poetry. I never used to do it on his level, and I was trying to rap though. And then he was like, "Nah, I ain't never gonna forget that." So you rapping all that, you ain't say nothing but Allah. I was like, I stopped.
I feel like you still got something in you.
I probably do, but I'm done, man.
That's fine.
I'm on a different journey, man. Hey, I'm staying with the kids, man.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I know that when we talk about doing poetry, what's some of the how many poems did your father? You told me that uh, when it was time to pack up all this stuff and his belongings, how many poems do you think?
I got books and books of poetry that he got that I still haven't even read all of them. Who knows what he gave to somebody, what he didn't write down, what he just knew. And he got so many poems.
SubhanAllah. And people tried to come purchase these poems.
Yeah, people from New York Times offer me, like thousands of dollars, like 30, 40 thousands of dollars, like a lot of people. But it's just not right. And if I do something, I want to do it where I could, sell it to, us, like, oh, you can have it, like, I just couldn't see myself just like soliciting my dad, like working to like the New York Times and like them people like they don't understand it for real. If I had books made and I'm like, okay, I know some Muslims buying this, it's different, than like some people just trying to get a story.
SubhanAllah. Because he was Muslim to the core.
Hey,
To the core.
hey.
Alhamdulillah. He has a poem written about dedicated to the gods of Palestine. Did you guys ever talk about that?
Yeah, he talked about it a lot. Like, he wanted me to go over there.
We got to go.
That dude was crazy,
We
man.
got to go.
I'm like, when I get over there, like, it's gonna go down. You be a prisoner. He's like, yes, that's the point.
We got to get you over there.
It's like, you see your little brothers and sisters, they blowing them up, they doing this. You need to go over there and it's like, and get blown up. But yeah, that was just the whole thing, Even that's another thing. Like he on death row, facing death, and he was still worried about everybody else. And he got a poem. You got the poem?
Yes.
I think I'll leave out to read it.
We're gonna, yeah. They told me it's a time to read it, so I'm waiting for that time. But Dallas, we have a time frame to read it, right? Is it now? It's not. You can read it if you want to. You want to read?
No, you got it,
All
man.
right, here you go.
This one about the children of Palestine.
Yeah. It's called. Uh, this poem is called
The Perplexed Smiles of Children of Palestine.
"The Perplexing Smiles of the Children of Palestine." Despite the actions of a few and excessive retaliations, drones, planes, bombs, tanks, rubble, buildings demolished, vanished houses, neighborhoods, hospitals targeted, UN shelters disrespected, murder, death, deliberate killing of non combatants, babies burned alive, amputations, hunger, and political starvation, lack of or no water, strategic sanitation, daily terror, and traumatized daily, military maneuvers, military maneuvering, moving here and there to turn back again to nowhere, trauma with all its manifestation, international parlays and hesitation, defiance to the realization of two nations, global aid worth, global amnesia, siblings and relatives gone forever, parental worries, in the face of a plex arrogance, the ethnic cleansing by any definition. Still, your laughter can be heard, and somehow you are able to smile. Oh, resilient children of Palestine.
So this time, like for this poem, The Perplexed Smiles of the Children of Palestine, you got to think like this. Say, I'm Amir. This is Muhammad. We grew up together. We play every day, basketball, soccer. We eat together. It's a war going on. Like these people killing us. I walk outside my house in my village, in my town, my neighborhood, and I see Muhammad, arm blown off, bleeding. He dead. That's trauma, right? 2 days later, Amir smiling, playing soccer. So even though this going down, like they friends, these is babies, not just kids, not 9, 10, 11, 12, 8, 7, 6, talking about 2, 3, 8 months being murdered. And these children of Palestine still find a reason to smile. So they really moved my dad, and that's like that's like a testament for everybody. Like, look, like, no, this that is Allah. Like that is Islam. Like they not like, oh, we hate y'all now. Like, nah. No, we still smiling. We still got love inside of us, even though these horrific things are happening to our neighbors, to our brothers, sisters, everybody. So that poem actually meant a lot to my dad, you know, and it's a lot of scholars who are reciting that poem right now today. Um, like it's been recited on the Kelly Clarkson show, Jennifer Hudson. It's been on Al Jazeera. Like one person did on Al Jazeera, we have 4 million views on it, just that one poem. So I get a chance to probably try to get that and look into it and put it on your nightstand. Really like deep dive into those words because they hit differently. Because you just turn on the TV, you can see everything he's talking about. You can see it.
You know, when you say that, it just resonates to me that, you know, it's a alhamdulillah in every situation. This other poem is a poem for Harriet.
So this poem is about Harriet Tubman. You know, so my dad not only was he still fast Muslim, but one thing you'll see somebody have to open their mouth for you to know that they're a Muslim. They tell you, they gonna greet you, but you just look at somebody first, and us, you can see first thing you see we're black. So Harriet Tubman, she was this woman who was freeing slaves, and she was putting in the work. So this poem right here is about her.
Okay. Slave ships packed, bound for a new world on the map. Much too late to be politically exact. Now listen, how whips slice through the air with a brutal crack. Tattoos of flesh on the oppressed backs, scars and tracks leading nowhere and never closer to freedom. Paths, counseling, cultures for profit, and generational stats. Look me in the eyes and say, how dare you say that? When science proves and the laws dictate and endorse the inferiority of blacks, abate history, genetics, human intelligence, and common sense, Biden, running the numbers again and check the facts. A spirit of evil and unimaginable cruelty long gone. But is it gone? Take a look and assess the condition of the world wars and man-made animosities. Prolonged, still much singing and dancing to the devil's song. Hypocrisy prevails when what it's true is considered wrong. Justice must sign a form to protest that it matters and it belongs. Tears are shed not only from the eyes of the weak, but also from the truly strong, those who control themselves at the time of anger and pardon when harmed, seeing beyond the immediate seeking gratification, and for the heart a light and balm.
One of the things he said right there, the tears, they don't just come from the weak. They come from the truly strong. You know, it take a lot. Think about this. Something happened, an injustice, and this person, they can't defend themselves, and a weaker person, and they just crying about it. You feel bad for them. But you see this same situation with a strong person, and they crying. So these things that touch you differently. Like the words mean like a lot. They compel you to really understand what's going on. So hopefully, I think BBO have these poems out here for you guys. I'm not sure how they doing it, but I think they will be in the back. But you guys can read them and later on I'm gonna have more published. But yeah, when you get to reading the poetry and seeing his words, it'll help you understand him more and his mindset and his heart.
Are we looking forward to getting possibly a poetry book published in his name?
That's what I was thinking about. And actually, again, I keep shouting out my cousin Bria Williams. She was talking to me about the same thing a while ago. So we're gonna get the ball running, the wheels turning on it.
Thank you, thank you. Um, are you ready for the done? We got some time. So, one more question. How close are you to getting a RAV4? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, man, I ain't that close, man. They expensive. I know the truck like $80,000, man. You know, I tell people all the time, even with like the initiative we pushing with the GoFundMe, like, man, I'm not trying to buy Lamborghinis and gold chains. You know, I'm in the trenches. I'm in the hood. I'm buying kids soap, lotion, shoes, socks, boxing gloves, feeding them. At my Cherokee Recreational Center, the kids come in the gym, they see me and they smile, they light up. Coach Marcellus, I did this, I did that at school today. Da, 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 da. They might be a little, um, unruly at times, or they may have, you can see that they're going without, but it's not their fault. They kids. And that's when we step in and make sure they got the.
So, since your father's case became very public, a lot of people mobilized around it. Many people got notice of, this the injustice as far as abolitionists and Muslims. What do you think we can do to help push forward um, in trying to stop these injustices? What's some of the things you have in mind of what we can do?
I just was talking about this, and the number one thing is togetherness. Um, a lot of people, especially different ethnicities of Muslim, they kind of like stay to themselves, you know. But if we just, it's real, one ummah, one body, and like spoke out about all these different things on one accord, it would push this envelope so further. Like it would be like an irremovable object. These we put in these people's face, and they would not be able to deter us. We got to be on one page, one body, you know, more togetherness.
Okay. So, what are the next steps, real steps, would you say that we could take? Like, now, when we leave here, is there anything that's like pressing to say, hey, let's do X, Y, Z?
Yeah, number one, keep spreading awareness. You got to keep it alive. You know, keep hashtagging Khalifah Williams, Marcellus Williams, talking about the story. You can make a joke about something on Facebook, and just at the end, randomly hashtag Marcellus Williams. You got to keep it in these people's face to know. Number two, set up small little groups with your friend group, in your neighborhood, in your city, where you doing stuff, where you doing it in the name of Islam, and also pushing this back to the forefront. Like, hey, we're not going for this. We're correcting this. We're not going for any injustices, and this is why. And you got to stand together, come together. Maybe run an Airbnb once every 2, 3 months and go live and talk about these things. You know, as like a community. The more you do this, it makes it seem small, but it's building like a snowball effect. Everybody gonna start doing it. Everybody get on one. The same thing, the one accord. It's like when you leave here today, just keep it alive. Just keep spreading the awareness. Like don't let it stop. Like don't make it a fad. Like yeah, but Marcellus, we was down there and we appreciate it. No, no, keep pushing because, like I said earlier, it's bigger than me and my dad. It could have been anybody else in this room, anybody's son, anybody's husband, anybody's father. And there's people who going through it still today. So you leave tonight, keep pushing this.
Alhamdulillah. So, just for those that may not understand Believers Bailout, the purpose of Believers Bailout, we are an abolitionist organization, a group, and we don't believe in this justice system the way that it is today. Um, Brother Imam Khalifah, Brother Marcellus Williams is an example of the injustice that's been done. So we raise money to bond out many Muslims and bring them from not just incarceration, but enslavement. You know, and freeing the slaves is one of the commands we've been told to do. So we've been getting brothers and sisters from incarceration for since when? What, Dallas? When did it start? 2018. And we raised a substantial amount of money. And to see brothers like, there's some faces in here today that I've seen brothers come out of incarceration and actually start their own business, and raise their children, be there for their family. And it wouldn't happen first before Allah Subhanahu, but also Allah used Believers Bella as a tool to help get freedom for these brothers and sisters. So I'll give up a round of applause for Believers Bella. Even though right now Illinois has abolished the bond situation, the bail situation, it's not totally abolished for the ones that have been incarcerated before that system occurred. So there's some people that still have some bonds. We have a brother who reminded me of that today, someone we bonded out. He was like, nah, that's not true for those that were incarcerated before the law became what it was as far as the abolishment. So um, we are bonding brothers and sisters out in different cities and locations. So even though the one milestone we've crossed and was help, we have helped get brothers and sisters out of prison in Chicago and Illinois, and that system is now over with. There's still 49 other states, excuse me. We definitely help and assist other Muslims. So we not right now caring about where you are. We just know if you Muslim or you connected to the Ummah in some form or fashion, we definitely trying to come get you without, really trying to, you know, we try to do what Allah told us to do in a nutshell. So with that being said, when you give, know that's what you're giving for. Alhamdulillah. Um, so Dallas, yes.
All right, so we will take questions now from the audience. If anyone does have a question, it may actually be best if you all can just come. You can just transition up here. If you need to form a line, we will. But yeah, if you all have questions, please make your way this way, and then we'll address the questions as we can.
Or you can stand up or ask from your seats, whatever comfortable for you guys. We can hear you.
I have a question. Uh, is there a particular chapter or verse from the Quran that your father really held dear? Is something that he would either quote or that really was his thing?
It was that supplication I told you earlier. You know, he stood on that in his last days. Like he said it a lot. It was like his answer for everything because it's a let it be so. You know, if Allah wants you to live, He'll give you life. And if He chooses for you to die, He'll give you death. But either way it go, you have to be happy and stable with that award. That's what it is. It's His decree. It doesn't matter what you think as a man. You know, so Allah controls all. So that's what it was. But he didn't really never come to me and say like read this, he just the whole Quran, like he was on it. Everything with him, doing it for a lot. You see the interview, you see what he said in the beginning. Like, it didn't matter.
considering this like a unique situation, a lot of people probably would need to have access to advice on what to do in the situation. So what would yours be to someone that knows that they are facing that type of battle that you face?
Man, that's a good question because everybody different. They're not gonna have the same uh, solidness in their body or the stomach for it. When you talking about, I had to see my father be murdered. I was there in the room. I watched his body. It's a different thing when your dad or your parents just passed from, health issues or old age than to see them actually, getting killed in front of you. So I really don't know what to say to anybody else, And I hate that I'm saying that because I kind of took it so well, but that's me and my life and the way I was brought up and what I believe and how I am. And everybody don't have the same heart or mindset as me. So I really wouldn't know. Like you said, the first word, it was unique. I never thought, I'd be, in a room watching my dad get a lethal injection. And I don't wish that for anybody else. But if it had to happen and I had to give advice, man, I don't know. I would say be relaxed with your decisions after. If anybody, I pray this don't happen, but if you go through this situation, like my dad said, you have to be pious. Don't be rushed with anything. Don't let anybody put something in your head to, you know, in St. Louis, people wanted to riot so bad. Like everybody was like inboxing me, writing me, calling me, oh, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. And my dad, before he got executed, he knew. He's like, hey, I don't want that. Tell the brothers it's okay. Like, that's not what we need. That would get these people against us more fuel to get rid of more of us. It's a trap. That's not what we're here for. So I would say be relaxed with all your decisions. If you was in the same position, just and you lead up to that, just be relaxed. Like sit back and think about everything you're gonna do. Like sit with it, and then still you feel the same way because a lot of times our anger and our emotions are run high, and we'll make a decision in a second that will cost us so much of our life.
I have a question. Brother Marcellus, you talked about pushing this forward beyond Muslim and just keep the focus on people that are incarcerated and that need potentially learn help as we come up. Are you aware of anyone specifically right now that is in that situation that might learn help? And if so, how do you do that?
I just want to, I'm going to repeat the question just for the people online real quick. So the sister just asked, is there anyone specifically right now that we are aware of who is facing a similar circumstance to Imam Khalifa?
Now, there are some people that have close cases, but none like my dad. It was like very unique, like the brother said. Like these things really don't happen. It's not normal for it to go like this. But what I would say, if you know anybody just in your family, friends, or you can go to prisons. You can look up cases. You can type in on Google, man incarcerated, but DNA or that could be foul play, anything, and it'll pop up these different cases. We got to keep the main thing the main thing, and that's being one body. So, especially Muslims, some Muslim incarcerated somewhere, reach out to them, see what's going on. Because too many times, these people who decide your fate in judicial system, when they get it wrong, too many times. So that would be my answer to that. But yeah, it's nobody that I know of right now off the back this case remotely close to my father's.
So how do you, when you face with your father's
what happened to your father. It's such blatant injustice. And to anyone who pays attention, it's clear. How do you, I like when you see things, whether it's what happened with your father, things that have happened historically to the present day in this country, Palestine, Sudan. How do you, because I'm just in awe of how you're able to be so present and so calm after what you witnessed. How do you not, what helps you not, I guess, give into rage or bitterness?
I would say,
Sorry.
sorry, Dallas.
No, no, sorry. The sister just asked, given the injustice that Brother Marcellus and his family experienced, what does he use, or how does he try to remain present and avoid rage?
Yeah, I would say two things: Islam and my son. I know, I know people are waiting for me to, what they say, crash out. And I know people want to see that for me, like any of us. Like, that's what you know. The non-believers, they want to see us down. They want to see us upset. They want to see us make these wrong decisions and these choices that's going to ruin the rest of our life. So I just think, and I be relaxed with my decisions because my dad said that's not what he wanted. You know, he didn't want that for me. It's too easy to do the wrong thing. I can easily go down to a building in St. Louis where I know it's officials there and start assaulting people or do it. No, it's too easy. It's hard to do the right thing. And that's when Islam come in. Then I think about my son. So if I do an irrational act like that, I'm gonna be took from him. So he gonna grow up without a father. And the cycle repeats itself. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like where I'm in with it. So I just think before I do things, and it's some days I do get really upset or really emotional about it because I miss my dad and he was innocent. But I don't let it control me. I just sit with it for a minute. Boom, that moment passed. Think about it. That moment passed. Look at my son. That moment passed. You know, get get the Quran out or watch some Suleiman podcast interviews. I'm gonna feel better. I might watch something funny like the Companions of the Prophet series, the funniest Sahaba. I just go look at these stories and just it'll change my mood. And it's kind of funny, but I really do these things because and I'm glad she asked that because these kind of feelings come across me often. And these are things that alleviate those kind of anger, irrational emotions.
Um, so oftentimes we can feel like we're the only people experiencing an affliction, especially ones such as our fathers being incarcerated. But as minorities, we know that we are mass incarcerated, and so many of our fathers are wrongfully, or I'll say legally, incarcerated. How do you think we, the next generations, can move forward from this harm and reclaim fatherhood in our communities?
So the brother just asked really quickly. He asked, as younger generations who are impacted by the prison industrial complex and mass incarceration, how can we move forward, in particular, reestablishing and nurturing fatherhood?
I believe we got to put more of us in those positions. We need more of us as lawyers, more of us as prosecutors, more of us as policemen, things like that. Everybody want to be a ball player. Everybody want to be, a rapper and things like that. We should push our children and most of us, just in our early 20s and 30s and stuff like that, into those positions. So we get a fresh shake, when it come down to these things, or where they won't be getting it wrong as much, and we have more peace and more time in our community to be a father. You don't got to worry about the injustices. You don't got to worry about getting pulled over and beat on just because you're a minority in the wrong neighborhood, and you get profiled and things of that nature. You got more time about going to the park with your son or your daughter, uh, donuts with dads, and things like that. Parents teacher conference. You got time to be a father. You're not worried about so much of the outlandish things that's happening because you're a minority. So I just think more of us need to be in those positions, and then give us the time we need to raise our children. Because when you look at it, a lot of times there's so many things stacked against you. that kind of goes by the wayside. But then when you're incarcerated or you like, enslaved in any kind of way, you like, dang, I miss my daughter, I miss my son, when you could have been doing that. But everything is a blockage. You're so busy, everything is so cloudy because the people that's policing your neighborhood and giving out these sentences that don't look like you, that don't come from where you come from. Because we absent in those roles. So we just need more of us in those positions.
So, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I have a cousin who's on death row. His name is Cletus. And alhamdulillah, he's a very strong person, but things are not going well with his case. And he is aware of your father's story and he is following it very closely. And I'm wondering if there were any words that you remember that he used to tell to his brothers on the road that I could tell to Cletus, who also does a lot of mentoring for other brothers who are in the same situation.
Real quick. So the sister just let us know that her cousin is on death row and is facing execution. And she asked for any words or encouragement that Imam Khalifa used to give his fellow brothers who were on the inside.
Yeah, my dad gave everybody the same, he was coming with the same thing for everybody. Islam. Islam. Allah carry you through anything, any and everything. It don't matter what it is. When you look at my dad's story, it's a man that was for sure facing the death penalty. They had signed off on it. They was going through with it. And he knew it. And he was like, yeah, so what? Because I got Allah. I got Islam. And that's what's going to carry me. So I would tell Cletus, if he's not Muslim or if he is Muslim, to, get in his Quran, get right, pray more, just find himself that way, spiritually, because man, these worldly things, it's not really words you can say that like, oh yeah, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna do it. It'll be all right through Allah. That's it. And that's how my dad carried it.
So like, no. Thank you for sharing yourself, and for sharing your father.
No problem.
And sharing your father with us. What do you know of what made his faith so strong? Like, who was mentoring him, or is this all just his own reading? Like, where did he get this faith that he has clearly you and try to pass on to all the brothers and sisters that he can do it? Because it's truly inspiring.
Where did Imam Khalifa get his faith from, his Iman from?
It's two things. He really just fell in love with Islam. He was reading the Quran every day, different stories. He loved Abu Bakr. He was telling me things like he the steak, he the best. Da, da, da. You strive to be Muslim like this. And Imam Qasim was very like tentative in his and tedious with my father for every little thing. So he loved him so much and looked up to him that he kind of like grew this like infatuation with Islam, man. It just carried him, man. He was like really, really, really just pushing it to everybody. My grandmother, like family members, like he would tell everybody about Islam. That's how happy he was, how much joy it brought him. So it was like his own happiness of Islam and Imam Qasim, his spiritual advisor, who was with him when he was executed. He loved him. So that's what it was.
Brother Marcellus, thank you again for being so present with us tonight. You've done it beautifully throughout moments tonight, but I wanted to ask, how do you, sitting with the heaviness and the emotions that it has, continue to have a relationship with the loved one that's passed? And that's like, what advice would you give to people also in the same situation?
Yeah, that's heavy right there. Like you, I tell, it's like question Allah. I miss my dad. I would. But I know for sure I'm gonna be with him again. So that would get me through it. But it's just certain things that happen, like like it's Ramadan now, and I can just remember my dad calling every day, and oh yeah, you did this, do this, and sometimes stand on the phone with me when it was time to pray, and stuff like that. So you're gonna miss your loved ones as transition, but you're still here doing the work, and putting all your good deeds, putting all your your blessings in the bank so you can get into paradise. So you can't too much worry about him. You know, I can't worry about my dad. He already there. You know, he died in mortar. He already there. I gotta get mine. You know what I'm saying? I gotta, oh, I got you. Let me get that blessing. Let me get that one. But that add mines up, you know? So that's what that is. But you're gonna miss him for sure. But he okay.
All right, I'm going to use my microphone privileges to ask the last, what looks like the last question.
Any more questions before Dallas?
Another one?
Yeah, my other question was just like, what do you want from your life? Like, as a man, as a father, as a son, like, what are the things that you want to aspire and achieve in your life?
What's it?
What do you want in your life? What do you aspire?
What do you want for yourself? Move forward in life. What do you
Okay,
want
okay. Overall,
Exactly.
What you saying. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, y'all misunderstood what you were saying. I thought she was saying something else, y'all. I was like, what? What you mean? I'm like, I want to live right now. But yeah, I just want to, be a better father, be a better Muslim. Sometimes I get frustrated when I'm like, especially when I'm by myself and I be praying, I'm studying stuff, and I like mess up on a word, the way it's pronounced. So I'm like, man, I need to learn Arabic better. I need to go call Imam Jabir and go down there, stuff like that. So I just want to be a better Muslim and a better father. Overall, a better leader. I'm already doing the work, but it's some things I fall short at, and I'm like, I could have did that better. I could have handled it with more finesse, being more diplomatic about the situation, like a real true ambassador, but it's those three things, overall, be a better leader, be a better Muslim, and a better father. That's what I want for me. I'm very simple. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the kind of person that's like, yeah, I want to do this and I want to go and I want to trap. Like, nah, I can be in the same place. Just being a better version of myself, like times 10. I'm going to be happy and sustainable with that.
Dallas.
So, first off, thank you for sharing everything you shared. So me and my friends here are gonna be lawyers soon, inshallah. Inshallah. And like, I think we've seen like through what you've shared, like lawyers can cause so much harm. Like kind of the way that like, so many like went back and said that they like the prosecutors and whatnot, but also like we want to obviously not do that. We want to like try to contribute to like these causes and like, your organization. Like, do you have any recommendations, I guess, for like Muslim lawyers and like or lawyers in general, like how they can like use like what they know and their skills for good, like in this like realm?
I wouldn't recommend nothing because that's what kind of the problem start. Because when you go to a certain corporation or you go with a certain group and they got these kind of standards or the way they do things, it'll take from your organic mindset of how you think or how you would try a case because it'll be about the image or the look or what they pushing. Say if you know somebody innocent, this firm is like, hey, we're gonna get paid if we do this, or we fall in line with the prosecutor, they owe us a favor. And you send a guy away for 20 years, against your better judgment because this firm that you with, this is what they wanted. I think, y'all here for a reason right now today. And y'all, gonna pass the board, inshallah, y'all gonna be lawyers. Y'all gonna do it the right way on your own. You don't need me to recommend nothing, you know what I'm saying? Especially these people a lot of these lawyers, and prosecutors, they are bad people. They kind of do everything for monetary gain. They sell themselves all the time. They trade people out, innocent people. Like, oh, you give me him, I give you him, and you don't want to get caught up in that. So you probably want to start your own firm, with your friends. 'Cause that's the real politics behind it. That's how it go. You know, I done been in the cups of I see how these people really work, firsthand experience, so I know these things to be true. You don't get tired of what, any snakes. You lay down with dogs, you come up with fleas.
All right. So we do have to start to wrap up. If you could just leave us with, so hearing you speak, I keep thinking
Mhm.
about the verse where Allah tells us that He doesn't burden the soul with anything more than they can carry, right? And so I'm curious for you through this difficulty, what have you learned about yourself?
I always thought, like me coming up, I always thought I was like super strong. I always thought I was like super tough. And to be all the way wholeheartedly honest, I learned that I'm not as uh, powerful as I thought I was. A lot of times I have a lot of weak moments doing this stuff with my dad, and I just don't know where it come from. And I just be sitting back like this not me, but it is. It's always been inside of me, and I always suppressed it, just put on an extra like core tough like image, even though I always was that, but I had this more loving character inside of me that I always was hiding away. So that's what I really learned about myself. And now that I'm expressing it more, I don't. I feel kind of dumb all these years for like hiding it and suppressing it because it done got me so far and I feel so much better. Just to go in the room and the kids from the youth center get up on me and like, oh hey, coach, talk to me. And people coming down the street, how you doing? I speak back. I used to be the kind of guy like just head nod, just and I realized, I'm really not that person. And my dad passing in the way he did really has humbled me, like dropped me down a lot of levels. And I'm kind of happy with that. Not kind of, I am happy with that because the other path could, crash you out and get you in the world of trouble. So that's one thing that I truly found out about myself, that I'm not this ultra supremely masculine person that I thought I was. I have more soft spots in me than I thought.
Thank you. And thank you for the whole night. Both of you.
No problem, man. I appreciate that for having me.
For everybody that grabbed some of the merchandise from for the brother for the program, we will be donating all the proceeds. So please get as much as you can, and like I said, hopefully we can get them that van. That and what Dallas gonna throw in. So.
All right, thank you all so much. We ask Allah please to bless
Yeah.
Brother Marcellus and his family and his loved ones, to give them ease. Please, we also ask Allah to bless everyone in this room who came out, who made the effort to join us today, who prayed with us, who ate with us, who laughed with us. We ask Allah to please give us the best in this life and the next life. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
I appreciate everybody for coming out. And like I said, like, it was special for y'all to come out for me, but it's not about me. It's about everybody else. It wasn't just about me and my dad. It's about your brother, your father, your cousin. And these things can keep happening. So I want y'all to leave today knowing in y'all brain that this fight is not over and we're still out here. So do the work, loud, quiet, it don't matter. Just do the work, y'all. And I appreciate y'all.